Hey everybody, this is my 1969 Ford F250. It's a camper special and it's got a 360 V8 paired to a 4-speed manual transmission. It's in Rangoon red. Truck's a lot of fun to drive. Stops really well. It's got a couple dents on some patina in the paint. Little bit of surface rust that I'll point out, but there's nothing at all on this truck that is cancerous with rust. It's a very solid, the metal is very solid in the truck. So I'll point out some of those dents and stuff, and then we'll go over what we did to get it ready for the auction. Engine wise, we had the valve covers and air cleaner sandblasted and then repainted those. And then while we had those out, we put new valve cover gaskets on it. You can see the new gasket there, same on the other side. We did a full tune-up, spark plug wires, cap and rotor. We also did the air filter. We did an oil change, and then when we bought the truck, the brakes weren't working very well, and so we ended up replacing the power booster and the master cylinder, brake master cylinder. And then when we bought the truck, the previous owner had replaced the exhaust manifold gaskets, so those are nice and new. The truck idles really quietly. There's no exhaust leak is what I'm getting at. The engine belts, drive belts, are in really good shape. We didn't have to do anything to those. Those look like that they were replaced fairly shortly before we got the truck too. And then the rest of the hoses were in good shape. The radiator hoses, heater hoses, all looked like it was in good shape. And then we also put a new battery in it also. One thing that's really nice on this truck is the grill is in really good shape. A lot of times you'll get in this soft aluminum, you'll get a lot of dings and scratches. This one's in close to excellent shape, I would say. And a lot of times these hoods rust out. There's just some really common surface rust right there. I don't even know if I guess I'd call that surface rust. And then on the inside here, you'd get a lot of rust too. Typically, you can't really see that very well, but that's it looks just like this here. It's really really well preserved. Let's see. So the metal on the truck is very dry. There's no cancerous rust in it at all. There's a little bit of surface rust that I'll point out, but it's overall just a really solid truck. And the body panels, you can see they're pretty straight. Then all of this bump side trim is in really good shape. You know, it's all there, which is really nice on these trucks. A lot of times there's missing pieces. They're pretty well dented. A little bit of a dent in there on that one. Then we also sent it off to exhaust and had some nice exhaust pipes installed. We put a new muffler on it. Get a better picture of that. So there's the new muffler. and then the new piping. So that turned out really nice. And you can see just how clean the frame is. And then underneath on the truck too, it's really solid. Look at the bottom of the cab floors. That's some rust inhibitor that we did when we put the new carpet in. We just coated over some areas on the floor that typically get rust, and there was some surface rust in there, but nothing bad. And you can see on this side too, the metal, sorry I'm jumping around, but the metal on this side is pretty straight. There's not really any dings in it. You know, there's stuff like this where you see, you know, some of that, but that's really common on these trucks. What's not common on these trucks is that it's really dry in there, and that's not starting to rust out like a lot of them do. Interior wise, we did a few things. We replaced the pad on the door armrest. We did the carpet, so that's brand new carpet. We rebuilt the seat with new foam and then reupholstered it. And you can see that's all new upholstery. Turned out really nice. And then this dash pad is also new, and I believe that's Ford tooling. I think that's what we bought with that one, was a nice Ford tooling kit or a dash pad. So that turned out really well. And then a lot of times these start to pit, and so this one has, but the chrome's in pretty good shape. You know, it's pretty bright. And then that's also a new headliner. You can see the door jambs look really nice. There's nothing at all that's starting to corrode or rust in there. And these rocker panels, sill plates, they're all really nice. Bottom of the doors on these trucks, these rust out really quickly too. And these are in absolutely gorgeous condition. I don't know if absolutely gorgeous is the right terminology I'm looking for, but they're dry. They're not rotting at all. They're not rusting at all. And in these rain channels, this is where you'll start to see some of the surface rust. This side looks really good. The other side's got a little bit more surface rust to it. But all this in here it's in really nice shape, and that's just some paint cracking. But it's not starting to show any signs of weakness at all. This is what I think is kind of cool, is this patina here, you know, stuff like that. I think that looks really nice. This is the side, getting some pine needle droppings here. A little more patina here, but this is the side that got a little bit more weather, and so there's some surface rust there. This is not that deep, and it's very curable. It's not what I would consider by any means an immediate issue. And then even here on the glass, this is nice and dry. A lot of times you'll see that starting to rust out. The gasket is weathered a little bit, but it still holds tight. When you're driving down the road, you get a little bit of wind noise, but I think it's coming from the wing window. And what's pretty amazing about this window, this windshield, is that I don't think there's a nick or a scratch or a chip in it. So this side's the same way. We'll look at this door. Look how nice that is. Same thing with these hinges. They're in great shape. Same with the rocker and sill here. We'll get a look at this floor. So same thing, we took some precaution and coated that. You can see just how dry it is. A little shot of the seat underneath. All that new material. So the truck shows 20,178 miles. That has rolled over. It's got the original radio, which works. All the knobs and dials are in pretty good shape. Both fuel tanks work, and this guy is, see if we can demo it with a key. So that is the auxiliary tank, and then if I switch it over to the main tank, you'll see that start to drop. So the sending units work, the fuel tanks work. I'm gonna put that back over to aux. But when you do change tanks, you have to change it here. So right now it's on main, and then you can dial it over to aux. But if you change it here, all you're doing is changing the reading on the dash. But your fuel is controlled here if you're actually going to switch tanks. And the cab corners, we'll try and get in there. Cab corners look really nice. Nothing rusting in there. And one thing that I always think is cool on these trucks is the old seat belts. And those are pretty well preserved. So again, I'm really happy with the way the seat turned out, the whole interior for that matter. And this cargo light is pretty cool. The choke works great. You got wipers, and then of course your headlights. So, and then these tires were new on the truck when we got it. So let's see, these are 225 75 16. And so I believe that's a common size, factory size for the truck. And then this bumper is fairly cool too. It goes in and out by adjusting this lever. And so you can move it in, you can move it out. So just a nice truck. You know, really dry, really good metal. Runs great. We'll turn it over here real quick too and just show you how easy it is. Throw it into neutral there. So I hope you like it. It's one of my favorites. We'll go for a ride. Thanks.